Hola! Today I'm going to show you how you can make your TIE fingerprint appointment yourself. This procedure covers the appointment booking process for the Almeria province, but there shouldn't really be too much of a difference with any of the provinces throughout Spain. Just an important note is you can only book your appointment for the province in which you live in. This procedure is aimed at British citizens that are resident in Spain and protected under the Withdrawal Agreement. There's really no reason why you need to pay anybody to book this appointment for you or do the paperwork or complete the paperwork that goes alongside it, i.e. the EX23 and the Modelo 790 for paying the tax for this particular card. I will have another video that shows those forms and how to complete them as well. The good thing is you don't need to upload any of these forms to any government portal. You can just take them along to your appointment with you. You will need a digital certificate in order to book your appointment. If you haven't got one, you can pop along to your local ayuntamiento and ask them for one there, and if they don't do it there, they'll be able to signpost you to the relevant office where you can get one for free. If you have a family member or friend that does have a digital certificate, the good news is they can book this appointment for you on your behalf, and I will show you what needs to be completed online for that. So there's two really significant scenarios when booking your appointment and completing your form, and what date you need to attend your appointment on. So if you've lived in Spain prior to Brexit and you've always held the green card and you haven't updated to the TIE card yet, and this is your first time, so this is your initial, good news is you've been living in Spain over 5 years, you're a permanent resident, so you can book to attend your appointment whenever you want to, tomorrow, the next day or whatever. However, if you came to Spain and all you've had is a TIE card, that is for a period of 5 years, your initial one, you have to, in order to make sure that you are a permanent resident, you can only book your appointment to attend your fingerprints appointment the day after your current temporary TIE card expires. So now I'm going to show you online how you can book the appointment for yourself. So now I'm going to show you how to book your appointment on the Ministry of Interior's website. So there'll be in the comment section, there will be a link to the website, so you can go straight to the page that you're seeing in front of you at this moment in time. First things first, you need to select the province that you live in. You can't select a province that you don't live in to attend an appointment. I think we touched on that already. So in my case, it's going to be Almeria. Select Almeria from the drop down. As you can see on the screen there, it says Almeria and then next we will click on the accept button. On the next screen, you get the option to choose which office you attend and the appointment type you want to attend. So, as I'm going to be booking in Almeria, there will be a few options. There's the main foreigners office, which is listed as Almeria OUE, and then there are three other options available, which are the national police offices in Almeria, Irijo and Reques de Mar. I'm going to select the main foreigners office, Ministry of the Interior. As you can see, it shows on the screen there for me. And then for the next part, you don't need to select the type of procedure in the next, the type of appointment in the next box. You ignore that box and you just go to the last drop down box. So in the last drop down box, you need to select the type of appointment you want to book, and that is going to be Policia Toma de UES, which means your fingerprint appointment. So in effect, your initial as well, or your renewal or a duplicate if you've lost your TIE card and you need to get a new card. We're going to select the very last option in that drop-down menu, as it will show on the screen. Then we need to go on to the next page and select Accept All in the bottom left-hand corner. This is where then your computer will bring your digital certificate so that you can sign in effect and make the appointment. But on this screen, you will see lots of information about the TIE process. Some of the information is confusing. It is in Spanish, but if you translate it into English using your browser, you'll see that it talks about Form EX17 and Form EX23. For British Withdrawal Agreement Protected residents in Spain, you should be completing EX23, and that's certainly the case in Almeria, although I do hear different things from different provincial offices that they prefer to have it on the EX17. I haven't had a problem in Almeria providing them with the EX23, so and that is the correct form if you are a British citizen protected under the withdrawal agreement. It also tells you which form you need to complete to pay your tax, so that's a Modelo 790 with code 012. Carry on scrolling. It does talk about EX23 then on this particular page. And then we're going to enter. So press enter on the bottom left-hand corner. Then this is the option where you need to sign in with your digital certificate. So I'm going to use this particular option in the middle, which is DNI/certificado electrónico, and then I select the access point for that. Brings up my digital certificate and anyone else who's on my computer, but if you've only got one digital certificate on your computer, then it will just take you straight in. So now we're on the page where it's going to ask us to provide some information. Some of the information is pulled through from the digital certificate, as you can see on the top there, and then we need to then put in some further information about who the appointment is actually for. So as the appointment is for myself, I am literally going to select Copia a datos solicitante, just there. Press that button and then it will copy your information from your digital certificate that's been provided at the top of the screen, and it will copy it into the fields below, so for your NIE and for your name and surname. If, for example, somebody else is booking this appointment for you, they would then have to not select Copia a datos solicitante, and they would have to physically type in your NIE into the field shown there, and they would have to physically type in your name as well as it would appear on your passport So next, then we've got to select our nationality. And we're British, so we come under UK. So the easiest way to get the nationality for the UK up is literally open the field, press R on your keyboard, and then you've got Reino Unido, and then you select that. Once you've selected that, you can go on to the next screen by pressing Accept All. On the next screen, there are a few options that you can choose for, but in this instance, because you're booking your appointment, you need to select Solicitar Cita. On this screen then, it asks for your contact details, your telephone number and your email address. Telephone number does have to be a Spanish mobile number. You will, on the next screen, be sent a code to your mobile number, so that you need to put that code in to make, it's basically verifying your number belongs to you, and to stop all these bots booking up appointments. My information is automatically stored on my computer. So when I go into the field from a telephone number, I can select the telephone number I want to put in there, but it'll also copy my email address into the field, both fields then below. When appointments are quite difficult to get hold of, and then it's a bit like the wacky races to get the appointments, it's really important that you put this information as quickly as possible. So if your information is already stored on your computer and you hover over it and click it, like for example that there, I can select my telephone number and my email address and it'll pre-populate for me. And that just speeds up the process so that it means that you are not going to get timed out or errored when you go on to the next screen, because there will hopefully still be appointments available. In Almeria, we are pretty good at the moment with appointments. They seem to have listened and put extra staff on. How long that's going to last for is another matter. But once your information is in there, so your mobile number and your email address, but you have to repeat your email address, and you press Siguiente on the bottom left. So code will come to your mobile phone by text message. And also we're going on to the next screen now, where it shows the calendar on the left hand corner, and then in another box it shows the appointments available. You can look through the calendar to see what's available. So for example, in the Almeria office at the moment, they seem to have appointments available from the 17th to the 27th of February, and if you click on the little button on the top right hand corner of the calendar there, it will take us on to March, and they appear to have appointments going all the way up to the 27th of March. So I'm going to select an appointment in March, but before I do that, I'm going to put in the capture information so that when I select my appointment, I can then immediately say yes, I'm sure, and not have to put this information in at that point. This is really important to have it pre-populated before you select your appointment, because if you don't have it in, the appointment could disappear if it's waiting for you to put the information in. So I've put in 5mm8C. It'll be different for you, but in my case it's exactly as it is on the screen there. Again, that's another mechanism that they've put in place to stop the bots booking up appointments. So I'm going to select, for example, the 9th of March, and I'm going to select 10:10, where it says Libra, which is free. That's where I'm going to book, and then the other appointments, the other appointment slots below there, as you will see, I'm sure occupied, those are not available. You can scroll right the way through here and see what is available and what isn't available. Looks like they're only working in the morning on that week, or maybe they haven't released appointments yet for the afternoon, because they're going to see how it's going to go with the appointments they've released for the mornings. I'm going to book 10:10, 9th of March. So then it's going to ask me, am I sure? Am I sure with my selection? So of course I'm sure with my selection, and I'm going to press C quickly. On the next screen, this is the screen where you are going to need to put in the code that you receive on your mobile phone. So it's really important that you have your code with you. It gives you your appointment details here. You need to put your code in pretty quickly. So I'm going to put this code in now. I'm just going to find it on my phone. So in my case, it is 53769. And then just below where you input the code, the 2 tick boxes for consent. Tick those. You can't proceed if you don't tick them. And then next, you'll need to confirm this information by selecting and pressing the confirm button there. On the next screen, when you're on this screen, now that you're seeing in front of you, you physically booked your appointment. Nobody can cancel it without this particular number at the top. They need that in order to cancel it. So even if you need to change your appointment yourself, you need that particular Christopher County de Theta that's in front of you there, beginning with C25A. It'll be different for everybody. You know, the appointment that you book might not be convenient, or something might crop up and you need to cancel it. So you will be able to cancel it by following this process, but instead of booking an appointment, you can annul the appointment in fact. What you can't do is book 2 appointments have 2 appointments booked for the same appointment type. So the system will pick that up. So if, for example, I was to go straight back on now and book myself another appointment, and this appointment still stands that's in front of me, then the system won't allow me to do that. It'll tell me I need to cancel an existing appointment if I want to change my appointment. So really important, this information on this particular screen with regards to that code, because you cannot do anything with your appointment afterwards without keeping that code to be able to cancel your appointment. You will get an email with this information on, but don't leave anything to chance. I always print things off or save it or whatever you do that. Because just in case the email doesn't come through, goes into your spam folder or whatever, you might be without this particular code, and you can't cancel the appointment then or book another appointment. And then obviously you haven't got proof that you have got an appointment. So down the bottom of this screen, underneath the appointment details, you see in printer. If you select that, then you can get the option to print the form, print your confirmation. So when this menu comes up on your screen, you can send it straight to your printer here, or if you haven't got a printer, you can just save it as a PDF. You will need this appointment confirmation when you go to your appointment. It's proof of your appointment, so it's important that you do get a copy. So if you can't get a copy straight away because you haven't got a printer and you need to go somewhere to print it, then you need to save it in your files. Next, I'm going to show you how to complete form EX23. This is in effect your application form for initial renewal card, and it's really easy to complete. It's just your basic information, personal information, some random information like your parents' names, but we'll go through it bit by bit. It's just 2 sides of A4. Here we go. So first field is your passport number. So whatever your UK passport number is, you place it in that field just there. Next is your NIE. So for example, you place it in these fields here. So you put your first letter in the first field, then the next number in the next field, and then your last letter of your NIE number in that end field there. Next, your first surname, or if you're British, you'll generally only have 1 surname, or if you're like me, I have 2 surnames, double barrel, but for some reason the Spanish just put it in as my first surname all in one go. So for example, I'm going to put in here surname, and my name is Joe, and then my sex is either hombre or mujer, and in my case I'm going to select hombre. For non-binary people, you can select X there, or if you don't want to declare your sex, you can also take X there. Then it's your date of birth, and again it's 3 fields. And then don't forget then, regards your place of birth, and that should match exactly what is on your passport. And then your country of birth. So then your nationality. So you're going to say that you're British, but obviously with Spanish, if you're a woman, you would say Britannica, and if you're a man, you'd say Britannico. And then your marital status. So, for example, myself, casado, sí, casado, married. Or this S for single, I will say them in English for you. V for widow or widower, D for divorce, and SB for separated, separado. And the next question, the next field then is your father's name. So, and it's literally just your father's name, not his surname, just his name as it would appear on his birth certificate. If they have got a middle name, I would always put, if they've got a middle name in that field, that's what they mean by name. Is, for example, if you were Spanish, your name would be, and you was male, you would be, for example, Jose Maria. You would type that in, Jose Maria. So if you are British, again, you would do the same, the first names. Your mother's name then. And then your address in Spain. So I'm going to say I live at Calle Madrid. Number 1. I don't live in an apartment, so I don't need to worry about the piso or floor. Look at that, which I'm just going to say I live in Almeria, in the city itself. What I will say about the localidad is the town that you're living in. So if you're living in a nucleus or village within of a town, you wouldn't include that at this point. It's whatever, in effect, it's whatever would be showing on your padron. Your CP, which is your postcode, and then your province. Then you need to complete your telephone number, which needs to be a Spanish number. And then your email address. And because you're going to do the form yourself, you don't need to worry about your legal representative to be put there at the bottom. You ignore the next part of the form, which is section 2, and you go straight down to section 3, the address of your notifications ultimately. So again, you type in your name there, but you would type it in as your surname, then your first name. So for example here, I've put my name as, my surname is White and Joe, so Joe White, I would put in White Joe. My NIE I would put here. And again, I would put my address here. Localidad, which is your town, postcode, and your province. Again, your mobile number, and again your email address. It is a bit of duplication, but you have to put it in. Okay, then there's a bottom of page 1, there is a consent box. You need to tick that. That means that you'll get your notifications electronically. What I will say is if somebody else has booked your appointment for you using their digital certificate, it's really important that you get your digital certificate as soon as possible, because any notifications you get will get put into your online folder. So again, we put our details here. This time they want it around as your first name and surname. And that's just so that it links up with the previous page, so it's at the top of the page. Next, we're going to select the data of the information about your application, why you're applying for it. So for example, if you were applying for your initial card, you would need to select here by ticking Tarjeta Inicial, okay? However, if you are renewing your TIE card, you wouldn't select that, you would select the Renovación de Tarjeta. And likewise, if your card has been stolen, lost, destroyed, it would be this other option just by the side here. Note for that is that if you have lost or stolen it, you will need, if it has been lost or stolen or destroyed, depending on the circumstances, you will need a denuncia from the police so that you can apply for a new card. Okay, so then on section 4.2, Situación en España, for the majority of people, this is going to be otros, because there isn't actually an option there for us to select for our circumstances. So if you select otros, and then because you are going to be permanent anyway, the reason why you're applying for it is because you're permanent. And for example, if you've had a TIE card already, your card will have expired on the temporary basis and now you're applying for one on a permanent basis. But also, if you're on the old green card still, you will be permanent. So we need to put permanent in here. Permanente. Then you need to sign and date it, but you obviously can't sign it on the computer, but you can put the details in of the date, for example. So in Almeria, or wherever town you live in, and the date today is the 8th of February, and obviously it needs to be in Spanish, 2026. And then on the next box, that's where you will sign it once you've printed the document off. You don't need to worry about anything else on this form. The bottom of page 2, there is some fields there, but that's not for you to complete. That's for the office to complete. And then page 3. So next we're going to fill out the form 790, code 012, Modelo 790, code 012. So I'm going to show you how you complete this form. It's relatively straightforward. The only thing you really need to know about it is you can only complete this form for one person at a time, and you have to start again for each person. So if there's a few of you, like in your family, that need to renew their card or apply for their initial card, you complete the form for the one person, then you start right over again. The reason being is there's a barcode on there that will be just attached to you paying your tax individually, and that's the reason behind it. So all the links for the forms that you need to complete will be in the comment section of this video. I'm just going to go into the form. So the usual information is required. So your NIE, at the point you can see on the screen, your surname and your first names, and then your type of road, street, or wherever you live. So in my case it's okay, Madrid. Then for the name of it, name of the street, and then the number. Unless you live in an apartment, you don't need to worry about the rest of the information that you need to provide, except for the telephone number. So, telephone number, you put in the N field there, and then the town that you live in the next field down, municipal. And then your province, the next field, and then the next field is your postcode. The next part of the form you do not need to change in the auto liquidación, the very first option. Where the radio button is pressed in for principal, leave it as that. You're not making a complimentary payment for anything, so it's a principal payment that you are making. Then on the third section down, where you've got the block, where you've got the bold writing, under the third heading, which is just your tarjetas de identidad de extranjeros, TIE, y certificados de registro de residentes comunitarios. In this section, you then need to select the option, the very top option, by clicking on the radio button to the right of the screen. That option is for withdrawal. That option is for the withdrawal agreement protection TIE card, and it means that you pay the €12. So towards the bottom of the form then, you don't need to complete anything until you get to the bottom of the form. Put your town in here, in the localidad, and then the date. If you need to change the date, you just press the calendar button by the side of it and select the date that you then need. And then you'll see on the next part of the form, ingreso. So, and then the import euros, it's already pre-populated with €12 in there. I always recommend to pay at your bank, not online. I don't think there is actually an option to pay this one online, but the next radio button you need to press is in efectivo, in cash. Take this then into your bank, who will then make sure that the payment is paid on it. So before you do that, before you print it, there's one last thing you need to do. You need to put the captcha code at the bottom, and in my case it's NFH4, and then you're going to ask for it to download and print, and you will see the form how it's completed there for you to take to your bank. So this is what the form looks like. There's the barcode there with a unique barcode and number on it, so that's why you can only use it for one person at a time. All the information is populated and selected by what we've completed on the previous screens. The amount then is showing there is €12. You will need to sign it in the declaration section. There are 3 parts of this form that you need to sign. They're exactly the same, the 3 parts. The only difference being is, so for example, the first one is for the administration, that's for the office. The second one is for yourself, the person that's interested, so it's yourself, you keep that particular form. And so don't forget, there's going to be some things that you're going to need to take with you to your appointment. So you will definitely need to take your current TIE card or your green residence card. You need a valid passport that's in date, your valid British passport in date. You need a photograph for your new identity card, and the details of the dimensions of those are up on the screen there. So now that you've booked your appointment and completed your forms, your EX23 and your Modelo 790, you need to start thinking about preparing for your appointment and the documents and information that you will need to take along to it. It's really important that you do take the documents and information that is required for the appointment and items. So here's the things that you will need to take. So if you're a current TIE holder, you will need to take your existing TIE card, even if it is expired. If you've been here since before Brexit and you are lucky enough to hold your green residence card, you need to take that instead of a TIE card for obvious reasons. You'll need to take your valid and in-date British passport. You'll also need to take a colour photo of yourself with a white background, The dimensions of this, your photographer will know, or if you go into a photo booth, you're selecting the one for the TIE card. You'll need your completed and signed form EX23. You'll need the payment section form for the completed 7 tax form. You'll also most probably need a copy of your padron dated within the last 3 months. Now, this isn't always required, but just as a belts and braces approach, I would suggest you do get a copy of it and take it with you, because it'll be just your luck that you go along and they wanted it and you haven't got it and they can't proceed with the appointment. Realistically, if your address hasn't changed, then you shouldn't need to provide the padron. But as we know, we live in Spain. Different offices do different things. And as a belts and braces approach myself, although I knew I didn't need it, I took it to my appointment when I needed to renew, just to be safe. So, I wish you all the luck with going to your appointment. You shouldn't need it because it's a straightforward procedure. And if you're in Almeria, I know that the people there are really nice that deal with us foreigners living in Spain. But when you go to Almeria, for example, you know, the process is very straightforward. As soon as you go through the security clearance area, you need to go to the machine, put your NIE number in there, and you get a little ticket out. I'm not sure what it's like in other offices. It's probably very similar, but all the best with your appointment. And let me know how you get on with the paperwork, or if you've got any questions at all about the paperwork, let me know in the comments and I'll get back to you. And also, more importantly, let me know then how you get on with your appointment when all you've basically done is paid €12 for your card, because you could be in a situation where you're paying somebody else to do the work for you. Simple process. But because you don't know how to do it, you're paying them to do it. They charge you €100 when in actual fact it could just cost you €12 and a bit of time to do the paperwork. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, look at my other videos on other things that I cover